Alright, so in this one, we are going to be reacting to GORESH's ranking the best characters in the game, June 2024 edition, part 2 of the 6th anniversary here. He did not do a top 10. This is a tier list ranking, and I see it on Twitter, and I am genuinely curious the reasonings for some units and their placements, specifically Gogeta Blue, and maybe the tiers below, but most specifically Gogeta Blue, why he is so low, because this guy is high regard for a lot of people. I think right now he could even be tied with SV Gogeta Blue. Like, I think he's like really, really meta. There's one red that's running around, but let me shut up. We're gonna get into this. I am not, gonna do the whole 55 minutes here, but we'll skip around. If we agree with something, all right, we move on, and then if we disagree, boom, we listen. Whatever. Tier list things. Let's get it.
Jumping into another top 10 video, quote-unquote top 10 video. The thumbnail says top 10 on it. The title might have top 10 in it, but this is really going to be more so of a tier list video as opposed to a top 10 video.
Same thing.
If you guys have watched my prior top 10 videos, you'll see this is definitely going to be very different from those. I was initially going to do this as a normal top 10 video. And I sat down to try and think about how I wanted to structure the rankings.
It is tough.
And I think this format is better for the current state of the game. I think if I were to do a normal top 10 list right.
He's saying that because I assume he's not going to explain it. If he does, great. It's because, and I guess I'll just explain that we can skip into the actual list. There's so many good units. I think that bottom area, it's pretty congested. You could have Shin, Evil Boo, Kid Boo, Revival Green Gohan, Feet Ku, more. Sure, there's more characters in it, but you could have, like, how many characters did I just name that could be 10 through, like, this 8 spot? That's more than 3 characters, right? So that kind of area is congested. I would say anything above 7 to 6 is really just like a different area of just goodness and prowess that exists. And then top 3, top 2, maybe top 3 are all a different level above that. So it's very congested. So making this is more, I guess, not concise, but it's more explorable in kind of like what's good in the game, and it doesn't have to be just this set 10 unit. It could just be these kind of honorable mentions, as you call them, right? But let's skip this intro here. Let's get into the actual meat and potatoes. So C tier.
That's a big portion of this character as well as Blue Card is faint. He can start to creep up and look very, very powerful. Like
I'm just gonna say I do not think Broly is even top 15. The thing with Broly that I don't like, and maybe people will agree with this, I think it's very strong. I don't like units that are reliant on your opponents being, well, silly or dumb or bad. I don't know what the word is. Any of those words, really. Because Broly, if your opponent is switching very consistently, you know they're going to switch, and you drop combo predict them, Broly can steamroll. That's clear. That's always been his thing on his initial release and on his Zenkai. Amazing. But what that does, and the issue I have with that, is you're reliant on the enemy essentially just playing bad and playing predictably, and if the opponent isn't playing in that nature, well, for the most part, Broly's pretty mediocre. If you get a lucky feint, sure, you get his ultimate, that's good. His ultimate's very good, but then you're just relying on a gimmick of feint, and then you can't catch them because they're not playing badly. Broly is just kind of doing air, and that's more consistent than him popping off as he could, because he's, once again, kind of limited in that regard. He needs the opponent to play badly to pop off. That's just how he works. It's not terrible, but it's also not good. I don't even think he's top 15, just to say where I'm at.
He could easily look on par with characters in Z tier. I mean, it's just, he can get to that level. It is,
but it's not consistent
to get to that point. So okay. He'll be in C tier here. He has a lot of access to Zenkai abilities, which is pretty good. He's actually a really strong bench character. I'm not really.
Yeah, he's a good bench. Yeah, I guess that works.
But,
sure.
He's a pretty good Zenkai. I don't really think they did anything too underwhelming with him. They didn't do anything too overwhelming. I think they were very cautious with.
No cover null outside of main. That's pretty underwhelming, right? I mean, Kid Buu has cover null. It's only 3 counts, but he has cover null outside of main. I mean, CMZ has cover null. Just click a fucking card. Click a strike, whatever it is. Kid Buu's click a blast. Broly's, you have no cover. That's my issue. If he had cover null outside of main, I could get it. I could put him top 10. But he has none. So he could look Z tier, but inconsistent. Is he the problem?
This character, and the reason why is because he already had access to 2 extremely powerful equips. They probably want to push him over
good,
the edge
honestly.
by giving him.
He has one very good
Broly's
clip.
gonna be
The
here
pseudo
at C tier.
Ultra
The
Broly
next
clap.
character I'm going to put into C tier is going to be Spirit Bomb GT Goku. I think
I didn't even know this guy was an option, to be honest with you. Like I said, I mentioned Evil Boo, Shin, Green Revival Gohan, Feet Ku, Kid Boo. Like 5 options right there, right? GT Goku? That's a polar bear in Texas. That I want to hear this.
this character has definitely lost a bit of value with the release of the Part 2 characters. Obviously, God Goku being green makes it a bit tougher to use this guy. And then even more so, I would even say than God Goku is just the fact that Ultimate Gohan is going to utterly destroy
why
his
is he
character.
here?
His blue card is going to not care about his endurance, and I just don't think we're getting to the point now. Even how many months? Like it's been 5 months.
Everything
since
has been
Bomb
negative.
Goku came out.
So he's here.
We're now getting to the point where we're seeing the level of offensive power to where this guy
Everything has been negative so far, but he's here.
I mean, I've had this guy at 14 stars since he came out.
Let me just say, he mentioned on Twitter, I assume it's here as well, but I skipped it, that within the tiers themselves, it's not ordered, right? So it's like the 1, 2, 3, it's not ordered 1, 2, 3. It's just, that top tier is not ordered. It's like you could swap Broly and GT Goku. I would not, but you could, and it's not ordered, these tiers. So if they're in the same bracket, you can all be swappable. But GT Goku is not even top 15 in my book.
I've put him on defensive setups on GT with multiple Zenkai buffs, a lot of HP equips, a lot of defense equips, HP Z abilities on the bench, stuff like that. And he really has been a pretty good defensive character throughout this point. But yeah, with the Part 2 characters, I mean, again, Ultimate Gohan just doing as much damage as he does, especially when paired up with Ultra Gohan on the hybrid setup where you just have so much power. It's really tough to get a lot of value out of this guy right now. So I'm going to put him in
He talked about hybrids. That implies Green Revival Gohan, right? On the hybrid setup? Not Red Beast, for God's sake. He's not here, thankfully. He talked about Green Revival Gohan right there. But GT Goku's above him? How? What?
With that being said, he can still be a really good character on the GT setup. I think he works very well with Super Baby 2, works really well with Super 17. Remember, they both have the sub-count manipulation. With
doesn't
an ultimate or
good.
So it could be pretty good there.
Just
and of course, he is a
power
family
crap.
and a sane character, so you don't necessarily
fine to
need
use.
to run him on
Fine
GT.
is not
Can be a pretty good
top
option for other
whatever
teams as
this
well,
is.
which Sun Family's
top
always gonna
15.
be a team. I mean, we've got to accept the fact that Sun Family is always going to be like a top 3 team ever. Like it's never going to fall from that spot.
Yes.
Because they can't stop releasing Gokus and Gohans. Like that's
Goku has no part of that right now.
That's the Dragon Ball Legends code of honor.
Yeah.
They must keep releasing Gohans and Gokus at all times. Like so there's always going to be a Sun Family team, and him being a pretty decent, like sort of like third good option for the team, I think is pretty good for him. Again, he can be pretty good in terms of a sniper.
A third? What Sun Family am I running GT Goku as my third? I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm asking. Where? As my third GT Goku. On Sun Family. GT, okay. Sure. Am I running blue, yellow? GT Goku SV GB? Is that what I'm doing?
When the enemy has two characters left, you can lock in and use a type neutral ult to try and kill somebody. He removes Vanish with his main ability as the last man, or when the opponent has only one character left.
Yeah.
And he actually can do some pretty decent damage if you have a decent setup for him and he has this full gauge built up and stuff like that. So overall, not a bad character. He's just kind of like a third option for a lot of the teams you're going to be using, but a pretty decent third option.
I don't know
there.
where the hell I'm putting that,
third
dude.
character we're going to talk about is going to be Pycon/Gogeta for C tier.
I'm gonna.
Again, this character.
Brother, I've been slandering this dumb pecan fucker for such a good minute, since like a week now. Pecan. He revives. End. Pecan revives. Green Revival Gohan does damage and revives. Better value. Pecan supports. Amazing. Sometimes when he does gauge, because you'll just sometimes have to sack him off to revive, so he'll never has gauge. Feet Ku. 50 times tankier than Pecan. I get it, fusions. It's the safety. I've seen fusion people, fusion mains, drop Pycon for CMZ because how worthless Pycon's being. With my own eyes. What the fuck is his value here? I can't even fathom a thought of where he... Just rush protection? Is that enough? Because then Green Rebel Gohan should be here, right? Evil Boo! He gives you protection!
Kind of talked about everything I needed to say about this guy in the prior tier list. Nothing really much else to say about him if you guys watch that list.
Ulton is purple!
The Fusion Warrior team obviously has gained a lot of value from the beginning of this anniversary. I would say that with the release of Part 2, though, this guy definitely loses a ton of value on Fusion Warriors. You almost never see, at least in my experience...
None of these units so far are top 20 to me.
Playing throughout the entirety of...
They can't! They can't!
Rank last season.
Shin, Evil Boo, Kid Boo, Green Rebel Gohan, Fate Coup, all 5 are better. Easily. Easily.
I think I maybe fought like one person using pure Fusion Warriors, and if they were using pure Fusion Warriors, it was with Fusion Zamasu over Pikkon, right? It's just very, very tough to have Pikkon with a ton of, like, have him realize a ton of value on the Fusion Warrior team right now because of the fact that this guy is in, like, I would say 70% of the matches you're fighting in God rank. Like, this guy is on like essentially every single team you're fighting against. So it's tough for him to get value. Again, I mentioned this in the last video I did, but it's just going to be, as we get stronger characters, it's going to be harder and harder and harder to get his unique age built up. He's not going to be able to get the team heal.
Everything he's saying about these 2 last units is negatives.
Guess who else is very popular right now? This guy.
I don't understand.
Now, again, it is definitely...
Okay, we're going to go to B tier.
Okay, so moving into B tier, the first character I'm going to pick up for B tier is going to be God Goku. I think this is probably going to be...
Okay.
Like if you...
Listen, I'm not a fan of God Goku, not my top 10. Is he top 15, 20? Whatever. Sure, fuck it. Why not? Yeah, cool, great. He's Super Vegeta. I don't know what else to say about that. I think there's potential in him. Sure. Get the purple out of the meta. You know, that's one thing for him. And get him a partner that has endurance. He wants to run with Shin, but then he wants to run on God Ki, then he has no rush safety, right? You have Gogeta Blue, himself, Shin. Okay, well, for one, you're using the worst unit in Shin over CMZ, so his teams aren't, peaked out. Then you run him on movies. He has no support there, because it's Golden Frieza, GB, and then God Goku. He's always the worthless one out of the 3, so he has inferiority. Then when he has a team that actually has support for him, he has no safety, because he doesn't give his team safety. He's a damage dealer that is not out-damaging anything crazy. And I talked about Broly could look Z-tier. God Goku can't look Z-tier. You get his gauge, you get infinite drop combos. He's Broly. He's Broly, Super Vegeta mixed together. Because if he's super reliant on your enemy not realizing, I'm going to drop combo AoE Green, I'm going to drop combo Strike. If you fall for that, then he can look good. But once again, I hate trying to value a unit because of their ifs and their, buts that they can do. It's not real, it's not frequent, it's not consistent. You need to have consistency within your kit. If God Goku's only sometimes getting that goodness and that really good looking setting, cool, but that's the point. It's not consistent. He's relying on your opponent to be dumb, not know what's going on, not know how the unit works, and then he just looks better because of that. If you're playing someone that knows how God Goku works and how he needs to drop combo where he's going to do dog shit damage after 3 fucking strikes, then you're cooked. The God Goku's worthless. Like, he does not do much if you actually know how to play against them, which is just spam taps. He's gonna drop. Just tap! Tap!
For somebody opening this video, this is probably going to be the character you want to see me talk about the most.
No.
I would imagine.
It was, but no,
so
not now.
I'll give my thoughts on God Goku. I've seen there's been like a gigantic crusade to try and get this guy buffed. In the same way that Goku and Frieza was buffed last year. I think this is a completely different situation.
Not that much.
I don't think God Goku is to the level where he needs to be buffed. I don't. I think he's not
a plat. Give him a plat.
He's probably not as good as he should be. But does that mean he needs to be buffed? I think.
Yes.
Like,
yes, that is how that works. Yeah, if he's not as good as he should be, he needs the help.
In order for a character to need to be buffed after
maybe
they
underwhelming.
initially release, there needs to be something like pretty wrong with the character.
There is.
I actually think the like if we're looking at all the releases this past year,
there is something wrong with him. He is reliant, just like Broly. That's why he's the tier below, on enemies not knowing how he works. That is God Goku epitomized to a degree of perfection. he is reliant on the enemy not knowing how he works. If you know how he works, he does nothing. I promise you. If you don't, that's something wrong. That's a foundational issue. He's balanced in an unbalanced game. It just doesn't work.
Biggest candidate to be buffed. The answer is this guy, Super Vegeta. Super Vegeta has a very big, character. Monstrously glaring issue. Actually, he has multiple.
So does God Goku.
He has very, very bad key recovery, and his gauge takes way too long to fill up.
So does God Goku.
I think because there are multiple big issues with this character, this is the character that, if anybody was going to be buffed, it's Vegeta. And the fact that Super Vegeta did not get buffed, I would say definitely this guy's not going to get buffed. There's no way. Why
would they ever buff a non-anniversary character out of thin air? That just doesn't make any sense, though. It's because he's anniversary. That's why people were expecting better. So saying Super Vegeta, if he weren't going to get buffed, how would God Goku? That just doesn't make sense. Because God Goku is anniversary. A character people waiting for 5 years. Do you think Super Vegeta fans were like, I needed him since my birth? No one's thinking that. Maybe there's 2 or 3 people. Congrats to you. He sucked. Great. Lovely. But God Goku? This is the form that brought back the entire show. For God's sake. This is a little bit different than fucking Super Vegeta. Just a little. Come on.
God Goku.
He's
I think this is a
anniversary.
very differently structured character.
Also, I'm just saying a plat,
Vegeta,
not a fucking Goku Frieza buff.
This God Goku, to me, at least the impression that I have from using him throughout the entirety of last season and moving into this season, is this character is not going to be someone that carries you to victory most of the time. This is a character that you put on your team as a second or third option to round out the team, which is a pretty good thing for this character considering how many different tags he's on a lot of different teams. Saiyan.
Son family. There's no reason to ever put him there. Movies. Let's say he's the third. He's always doing nothing because GB and Frieza are better. So what the fuck's the even point having him? Why not just run support at that point? He's not going to do anything. God Key. He's worthless. I'm going to run CMZ. I'm going to run GB. Okay. Why the fuck would I have God Goku? He's the same thing as on movies. He does nothing. He's worthless. Why not just run a support type? Why not just run SV? Why not just run, or I guess God Key. Why not just run Shin? I'd rather run Double Red than God Goku. There's just no purpose to him in these other units. He's balanced in an unbalanced game.
And that gives him the flexibility to just be included on a lot of those builds, a lot of the popular builds that people are using right now. As like a second or third character. AoE green card. He has pretty damn good disrupt with the power down, double card destruction. He's lowering key. He has endurance, of course. He kind of reminds me of like a semi-modern future Gohan, where he's kind of doing a lot of intangible things that you really don't see in terms of like his offense. Like he can do decent damage. Like he can go type neutral when his gauge is filled up. I have seen some pretty good performance from this character against like Ultimate Gohan. When he has type neutrality, of course. He has type neutral for the first few counts upon switching in defensively as well. And I think one thing that people...
Yeah, compared to Puddle? Okay.
I mean, I haven't really seen many people talk about this, but I don't think... I've been thinking about this, and I don't think we've ever seen this before, but an AoE green card that can be spawned at will via his main ability. The reason why that's so strong is because it essentially acts as a vanish removal, right? If you're in a position where the enemy can't they can't get out,
or they could know you do that on main and then not initiate because they know you have an AoE green, then you're gonna fish for it, and then you're gonna miss it because you thought they were gonna initiate against you. That's also a thing just to put out.
Like you're in melee range or something. And you go for a tackle, the enemy strikes you, like you're in that sort of position.
But if you know they have main, why would you ever do that play?
If you have an AoE green card. If you're in a position like that, you essentially can use your main ability to act.
Do you see how that makes him reliant on the enemy making a mistake?
The enemy can't do anything.
My entire point.
Strong. The fact that you can chain it into the ultimate's good. Gets covered all on the AoE green card. I don't think this is a character that you're going to be like, oh my god, I 1v3 this guy's whole team with God Goku, look how broken he is. He's more of a character that's going to be, you know, spawning you cards, type neutral, disrupts, like a lot of these intangible things that he's really good at are what give him value as opposed to a lot of these other characters. Like, for example, we could even take a look at like someone who's going to be very high up on this list in Super Vegeta. Like this guy is doing way more intangible things than Super Vegeto's doing. But obviously Super Vegeta was a different, like, he's a different designed character. This character is going to be a character.
What intangible is God Goku doing that's so high value? Vanish back? Is that it? Like, he explained it. Like, he reduces arts power. Those aren't enough. That it isn't. It's never been enough. If Evil Blue, who does the same intangibles as key reduction, debuffing arts power, isn't here, who does quite a bit less damage, fine, but is doing those, intangibles more so and better than God Goku, why isn't he here? It's the same premise, right? It's not because he's not talking about his damage. He just said he's not going to 1v3 for you. So we're talking about intangibles. Well, there's units that aren't here that have intangibles. So where it should match, but it doesn't match.
That's going to be soloing teams and single-handedly winning you fights, but that's not really this guy's role, right? When they were sitting down to design LF God Goku, the minute they came up with what they wanted this guy to do, he was not going to be top 1 in the game. I don't really think, like, this is like saying
what?
Red Pan. Like, Red Pan never had, at least, I guess, based off of the way that I see the game functioning, Red Pan never had the potential to be top 1 in the game because she doesn't have the carrying potential to do that.
She's support, yes.
God Goku, I would argue,
is
in a similar spot.
He's not helping anybody. He's not helping anybody.
Carry potential innately.
He's selfish as fuck.
Instead, he's more of a team player and helping you do things that a lot of other characters won't do naturally. He's
Did
kind
I
of like
read
Blue
the wrong
17
kit?
almost. It's kind of a weird comparison.
Have I read the wrong kit?
Blue 17 is not going to be carrying you. Blue 17 is going to be.
Bro, what does God Goku do that Goresh is talking about? Have I read the wrong kit? What is he doing that? I don't know. It's just key reduce and arts power debuff. It's not that, like, crazy. It's not. He doesn't support. He doesn't do anything like this. He wants to do damage and be selfish. He wants to 1v3. He doesn't have the potential to, but he wants to. He's selfish. I don't know. I don't know.
It does feel to me like what God Goku does in a way. So I feel comfortable with him being in this spot. Again, it's probably a little bit lower than most people were hoping for.
Tired.
And I definitely do think that when we're looking back at even last year's anniversary, there was a big push after Goku and Frieza released and they got buffed. There was a big push for Orange Piccolo to be buffed last year. I really was against that. I think there is a better argument for God Goku to be buffed than Orange Piccolo. I think this character probably does feel a little bit worse than Orange Piccolo does, because Orange Piccolo was clearly not going to be a carry character. Like, it was very obvious. Orange Piccolo was
because he died so fast. That's why I wanted to buff.
Healing.
He died like
this guy
shit.
Is not supporting. This guy is not
on
healing,
boost,
but he does do a lot of other things.
All right.
But
Next character.
Which could be pretty good.
I've never seen a good nap of Vegeta. I don't care enough to talk about them. Next one. Who else is here? Keep going. Skip 10 seconds. Huh? I saw them up there. I freaked out. Super 17.
Pretty good, but GT is not like the craziest team.
I can understand Super 17. He probably should be a little higher, but I can understand it. All right, let's go to A tier, because this video is way too long already.
A tier next.
And I hope it goes faster.
This is
all right. Like guess not. I've been using Kid Buu a ton. A fuck ton. Even in Proud, where no one plays that shit. You aren't playing that shit. I'm not playing that shit besides content. Kid Buu. He is contradictory. Let me explain. I've said it many times, but I'll say it now again. Kid Buu, what he wants to do. Read his kit. Cover an ult. Then you read again. Oh, he's debuffing the enemy, their damage received, right? They get damage received debuffs there. What is it, 20%? Every 4 counts. He has 3 counts cover null after doing a blast. He is contradictory. He wants to stay in a long time, but he has no cover null to stay in that long time. Do you see a problem that's similar to somebody else? LF Broly, correct. Kid Buu does fine damage, even great burst damage, really. Not trying to downplay him. He has no cup pen. He has very little cover null. Good neutral, right? Every time, what is it? They swap or he sidesteps some bullshit. It's very consistent, though. It's very consistent cover null. Or rather, fucking, I'm losing my mind. Neutral. Very consistent neutral. It's not really needed besides, fucking Gohan, but whatever. It's there. But so little cover null, it just, unless you're doing the assault chain of GB, it's pretty fucking tough to get stuff going if you have such low cover null. There is quite a few blast cover changes right now. Pre-SV, blast cover change. You have, isn't Golden Frieza blast cover change, right? Doesn't that exist as well? And then even more so than that, it's not like Kid Buu is destroying Ultra Gohan, is he? I mean, not really. Like, he can do damage to him. Maybe he can snipe him once every, 30 matches. But there's not any reds he needs to take care of. CMZ, CMZ runs with. I guess CMZ doesn't run with any specific. I guess Pycon, but Pycon fucking sucks. CMZ's not going to die to Kid Buu in 2 cards, though. That's not going to happen. Unless it's an ultimate. But even then, I still don't think CMZ dies to 2 cards from Kid Buu. Maybe, but it must be a shitty CMZ. Kid Buu, to me, you could cope him top 10. I don't even think he is. I'm much more in line with the top 15 era for him. And here, again, this is a tier list, not a top 10. It's still a top 10. This is clearly going to be within the top 10. We're 7 down. There's probably going to be 15 total here, I'd guess, 3 per. But, no, I can't. I cannot do Kid Buu up here. I cannot.
Character, because he
maybe you can. I can't.
Out 2 days ago. And I initially wasn't even going to include Kid Buu on here, but after using him, I definitely think he deserves to be on the list, overall. So
also, overnap of Vegeta's crazy.
Extra videos with Kid Buu. I did some off-camera fights with Kid Buu. Fought a few people with just him on different setups. And I think this is probably where he's going to land, but it's really tough to say so early after he came out exactly where he'll fit on the list.
That's also a thing.
I'm going to put an asterisk next to Kid Buu, because he could either go up or go down. I'm not sure. I don't think there's going to be some massive epiphany that I have where it's oh my god, actually he's this good, or actually he's this good, or actually he doesn't even belong on here. I think he's probably going to fit somewhere around A tier. A tier, if we're talking about specific rankings, maybe he'll be low S tier. I think somewhere in here is really good for him, which is a very, very good sign, because this is a character that came out in 2021. I think it was 2021. I think it was Legends Fest, then Future Gohan.
All right, so that character.
Try to adding a blue card at long. That's a kind of surprise. That's the thing. It's a new anime cover change. Wise, other Kid Buu, or be an issue as well. Next character's going with a lot of these other villain characters. It's just they don't.
Baby, I get it. He went lower because he's not a full stopper to Ulton. Understandable. If I agree, we move forward. That's how we go. Or if I can understand it, I don't have to fully agree. I can understand what's going on.
Gauge up A tier. I'll hear about him, but
so that's implying UI is higher than GB. Yeah, okay. GB is the best stopper to Ulton, bar none. GB, I'm talking. GB, not pre-GB. GB. Because of how murderous he is, just spamming strikes, just killing everything. In GB, yes, it takes a little bit of time to get there, but the thing is this is what you're comparing, right? Because the UI is going to be above them. Okay, so let me compare UI to GB. It makes sense, right? UI cannot snipe out pre-main on Ulton. You can't. He has endurance. Doesn't happen. Okay? He has to pop main to get the endurance null. So it's either UI gets main first, or UI gets main and gets the perfect scenario where Ulton's in, post that main, perfect scenario, where the ult isn't being used, it's just blast. Perfect scenario. That has to happen for UI. Or it's you using GB the entire match as a solid damage dealer regardless, pre-GB, and fusing before that scenario is likely to happen. Which sounds more consistent? GB fusing and just murdering everything post that because all he's scared of is CMZ? Or UI getting the perfect spot to just snipe out Ulton? To me, sounds like GB. That's where I'm at. S tier, let's look at it.
All right, moving on to SB teens.
Golden. Yes, I agree. Golden, I agree. What's next?
And then
I'm curious.
What the hell is?
I want to hear the UI. All right, let me hear it.
I sort of talked about what I needed to with this guy when we discussed Gogeta a few minutes ago, but Ultra UI Goku, I think, at least personally, is just a better version of this character. There are certain traits that Gogeta has that I think could, you could argue, oh, it's better than this guy. Like the full heal from the fusion obviously is really strong. They get cover null obviously way more easily when they're pre-fused than Goku does. All you got to do is tag once. Goku can get cover null outside of the cover change nullification mechanic with using green cards, but I wouldn't really call that like mega consistent. The first one, sure, because he can generate one from dodging, but after that, I don't, because even when you're looking at like the best Sun family teams, like the best Sun family teams right now are Blast, Ultra
True.
Gohan, Purple Gohan, and this guy. There's a very strong argument for that to be the best team in the game right now. Ultra UI Goku.
I'd much rather
Ultra
SV
Gohan,
on that
and
because you could
Purple
go blast
Ultra
base. Just
Gohan.
saying.
That is a very,
But
very,
sure.
very, very, very annoying and tough team to deal with.
I don't
And
really
it's a
face
blast
it
team.
much at all,
So
personally.
we'll see. I think this guy's probably just got too many mechanics
Uh-huh.
to where Gogeta can ever like overtake this guy on a list. I think this guy will always be more valuable than Gogeta, unfortunately. It's kind of sad, but yeah. I'm having UI Goku here.
Bold
in the
statement.
middle of S tier.
Wow.
The next character I'm going to grab is Fusion's
I agree. CMZ, yes. He's not top
so we kind of
3,
already
but
know
he's
what Z
right
is. So
there.
I'm
Okay.
here now. All right, so Z tier. I'm sure everyone's shocked to see 2 Gohans.
I agree with Z tier. Ulton number 1. I already have a top 10. It's already there. But this bottom of the list. Okay, so overall, I get the top tiers. Not UI. Let me put an asterisk on that. Not UI. UI above GB does not make any sense to me. Not in one sequence at all right now. He is the best stopper to Ulton, bar none. Easily more consistent. That's just how it is. That's how I see it, at least. But UGF, CMZ, Gohan, Vegeta, I get all those. Moving down, I get near nothing. Super 17, I kind of understand it. Baby, yeah, I'm on board, Kid Buu, no. God Goku, no. Vegeta and Appa, I've never seen them do anything good. I don't know what to say about them. I don't own them. I've never seen them do anything good. Just how it is. Maybe they're fucking godly. I've never seen them do shit. And I fought 14 stars with them with double Zecta buff. A lot of games in last season. So I don't know what the fuck to think about them. I think they're shit at this point. Not really shit, but shit to what I've heard because I've heard such good fucking praise. And then C tier. So this is a 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. This is 15 units, right? This is the top 15. Let's just say it is. That's what it is. 6 of these units, arguably 7, I don't even see on the list. I don't see it at all. I would much rather Shin, Evil Boo, as I keep mentioning, as those two, kind of those, lower tiers, right? I guess you could say Nap Vegeta. Sure, why not? Let's say Nap Vegeta. Just to say it. But I don't get what the lower tiers are doing at all. Again, Broly's inconsistent. GT Goku is a joke. Yeah, he's okay. He's okay. That's not good enough, though. We've just discussed this. You're not good enough if you're just okay. That's just not how the game works. Pecan, you revive. You do nothing else. You're worthless outside of that. Super 17, a bit of downplay, I would say. This guy, this is a fine placement, but I think this guy overall, just by people, is downplayed. He's still a very good unit, very competent. Right now, you run Blast PO, Kid Buu, Super 17. I'm going to say leader Ulton just because it's Ulton. That's color synergy. You have rust protection a lot, and then he's 2x there. Can I tell you who does the most on the team? Super 17. Very easily. He's very good still. Nap Vegeta, whatever. God Goku, I don't even want to touch that one. Overall, what would I think of my reaction to GORESH's top 15 or tier list here, whatever we want to call it. I'll see you in the next one.